All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in to Big Pressure Podcast. It's Raina here with Demi. This edition is a little bit different than what we normally do. Normally, we do artist interviews and we do our podcast on Wednesday. Today, we're touching on Domestic Violence Awareness Month because this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So, we want to speak for those women that may not be able to speak for themselves or somebody that's going through some things and they seem to think that they're alone and they need an outlet because there's always an outlet. Also, I have all you got to do is comment, share the live. You'll be entered into a raffle for a makeover and out to dinner. The makeover, you'll go to Vibe Boutique to get an outfit. Mia will do your makeup, and you'll go to Brick House for dinner for one by yourself. Just a little bit of pampering. But we just want to touch base. I'm gonna go over the statistics for domestic violence and domestic abuse, and then we'll go there. Currently, there are considered to be six types of domestic abuse, which is physical, sexual, verbal, mental, financial, and cultural. So we all know that the physical aspects of it is either hitting you, restraining you, or threatening you to do harm to you. The sexual assault part is based on it could come from many forms. Like normally, like before 1993, men thought that it was okay to rape their wives. And in 1993, it actually went into law that it was against the law, and men who raped their wife against their will were started to be charged for it. The verbal abuse and emotional abuse is just like putting you down, calling you names, making you feel less than what you are. But then the mental aspect of it could be them hiding your things like your phone, your wallet, your purse, and acting as if they didn't touch it just to fuck with your head and things like that. If you are experiencing any type of domestic violence, there's a number at the bottom of the screen. If you feel like they got, you down. So there is a number at the bottom of the screen. You can call that for different resources. If you feel like you have no outlet, you can also text START to their little START number down there. You can also, I think it's helpme.org. You can also go on there to find out the different resources that can help you. And it's just sad because in 19 countries, one third of women felt like it was okay for their spouses to beat them. In 19 countries, the men also thought that it was okay to beat their spouses once in a while. And then we touch base on the statistics the statistics and the way that domestic violence goes. According to the CDC, 1 in 4 women experience domestic violence. 1 in 10 men experience domestic violence as well. They're starting to see a lot of domestic violence in the gay communities as well. So it's not just men beating on women, it's women beating men, and then same-sex couples abusing each other, which their rates is currently raising. Black women, unfortunately, they increased that 1 in 4% of being victims of domestic violence. So the statistic says that more than 40% of Black women will experience domestic violence, with 53.8% of Black women experience psychological abuse. And I think that kind of, when people think about domestic violence, they only think about them hitting you or something like that. When the psychological effects normally typically start before they even batter you. And most women don't think that. You guys say like it's toxic. Oh, he's toxic. No, bitch, that's domestic abuse. So so stop saying like it's so toxic. Oh, he's going through my phone. He's so toxic. No, bitch, he's controlling. He's not toxic. You are about 2 seconds away from getting your ass beat. So just stuff like that. Like most of us need to wake up, and we don't. 2.5% of African American women are murdered by their spouse, and it's always murdered due to domestic violence, and it's always someone that they know, of course, being close to them. And then it's hard for us to get help. It's hard for any woman to get help with domestic abuse, especially because 9 times out of 10, when we're being abused by a spouse, it's never been reported, so there's nothing on their record. So It don't matter if they have a violent past against a male or a gun charge or anything like that. As long as they don't have any physical abuse towards women, they're more than likely going to get a slap on the wrist. And it comes with that. Not only are we black, but we're also women. So 9 times out of 10, our voices aren't being heard, and that's what makes it so hard because they'll say, "Oh, go get an order of protection." Um, Majority of these women had order protections and they still ended up dead. So that's just something to take in consideration. I encourage every woman that's going through a domestic situation to go get a firearm, a legal firearm. Go get a legal firearm. And what you can do is they have rubber bullets that you can load your gun with if you're going through domestic violence, and they recommend like putting 3 bullets in. After the third shot of him getting hit with a rubber bullet, he should have been set his ass down somewhere. If not, then shoot the kill on the floor. Make sure you have the police on the phone though, you know. But we just came here to I know most women domestic violence cases is different from others. And most people I feel sorry for. For instance, I know this girl, and we were just talking yesterday, and her husband beat her like really, really bad because she didn't want to have sex. Okay, she's brighter than me, and both of her eyes were closed. He held her captive for 3 hours and beat her for 3 hours with her kids in the house. He woke her son up out his bed and made him go in the room with his sisters. And all this was happening while her mom was next door. So no matter how safe you think that you feel with someone, there's no at any instant anybody could snap. And it could have been you saying a certain word to them that triggered their anger, but whatever they got built up inside of them is gonna, they're probably gonna take it out on you the worst. And that's just the sad part because most of these men won't go attack men. They'll just take all their anger out on women. So what you got to say? Demi came to get her story. I don't know because she really wanted to do it, so I feel like her story a little bit deeper than mine. I'll say that I went through domestic abuse. I over the course of 13 years, I was only hit, and I can't say only because I got hit 3 times, which that's 3 times too many, which I should have never been hit. But it was more so psychological abuse. Like for the longest, I thought I was ugly and one worth shit. Like for the longest time, because it was not just the mental abuse or the putting you down. It was the cheating, and cheating is kind of like a psychological thing because you always think that if they're cheating on you that you're not good enough. So and the whole time I was the shit. So I just had to pick myself up.
Oh, you waiting on me? Okay. Well, I got beat a lot. I was 17 when I first started dating this dude, and he was very, 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 very abusive. Like I used to get beat with objects, fist, stumped, shot at, pistol whipped. Like I went through a lot. A lot of people that was close to me know like everything I went through because they was there. And it's like I see a lot of young girls go through domestic violence, and it's like, why do you sit up and allow a man to beat on you or control you? And it changed me in so many ways because I used to be like this loving, like sweet girl. And after that whole experience in jail and everything, it changed me and made me really, really cold and shut the world out because I feel like love shouldn't hurt. You shouldn't have to beat up nobody. And I turned into an abuser because I be with niggas.
Okay, we're gonna act like she didn't say that. That's that 1 in 10 men.
I'm trying to change because like yeah, it fucks with you, but like I feel like if you know your worth, you won't go through it. I didn't know my worth because I was really, really young. I had just had a baby, so he was 21, and I let him control a lot of what I did in my life and dictate what I did in my life. Jail saved my life. If I did not go to jail because of him, I would be dead right now. Like I truly believe, like I would be dead. somebody else would be raising my oldest child. I would not have my other two children. Like if it was not for him killing someone else and not me, I would be dead right now.
So do you think that you stayed with him and you dealt with it because you didn't think that you was capable of being loved?
No, I just was scared.
You were scared.
I was dead ass scared. Like every time I tried to leave, he'd come kick in my door, fight me, shoot me, pull up to places I was at. Like it was really, really bad. Like to the fact I didn't tell my family until like a year and a half of it. When I couldn't hide it no more. When I go around them, my lip busted. I got stitches here, scars here, I'm cut here, swollen here. Like it was ridiculous. And my son, he was really young at the time, and it was traumatic for him because he remembers like a lot of stuff that happened to me. And I just feel like women need to understand when you going through something like that and your children is watching, they're watching. They're gonna know like what's going on. If it is something that is traumatic to them, they're gonna remember. My son was 2 when I went to jail. And he was a newborn when I got with this dude. So from newborn to 2, he remembers me being shot at, beat, everything.
And I think that that goes into a lot of our kids turning into healthy adults.
Yes, like my son is really like I can't really too much fully put the blame on dude. I have to blame myself too as a woman and a mother because I sat there and allowed myself to be beat in front of my child and all that stuff. Like I had no control. I felt like he controlled everything I did. If I didn't do this, I was gonna get beat. If I said the wrong thing, I was gonna get beat. Like how I am now, I was never like that.
So do you think they'll like they say they'll be like it affects kids. Do you think that do your son have anger issues?
No, my son has depression issues, and it affected him the opposite. Like my son is a lover; he's not a fighter, but you could tell certain things affect him. And then me going through that, I don't make it any better because of how aggressive I am. I'm
Mhm.
not the same.
But when you go through shit like that, that's what it turns you into.
Yeah,
Like you can't like now you be like, nigga, I wish the fuck you would
yeah,
put your
because
hands on
now
me.
I'm the
Like, hold on, let me
yeah.
show you who doing the beating around this
It's like it's,
motherfucker.
it's bad. It's just like it's a life changing experience,
But
and I
have
see
you
a
ever
lot of
thought
young people go through it.
a lot of girls think that it's okay. A lot.
Yeah, and I thought it was because
And a
that's
lot of
how I was
girls think that
raised.
if you have a baby by
Yeah, and
it
that's not
change them
okay.
and
No.
that gets worse. And it's a lot of things that trigger domestic violence.
Once they
And
know that they can beat you and they know you're scared of them, it's a wrap. Like they control everything you do because you got fear instilled in you from them. And I had fear for a very long time. Like even with him being in jail, I was still scared. Not no more.
see, listening to yours, it just makes mine so much, like so much smaller.
Yeah,
Seeing my
like
friend when she showed me her pictures, like that makes the shit like I went through. Like, bitch, you complaining
yeah, like
about
I got
not being able to
scars.
see out your eye, but
Yeah, I
it's
have a
bitches
lot
that
of
almost
scars.
died.
I have a lot of scars on my body. My lip is bigger on one side because I had stitches in my mouth because he busted my tooth. Almost went through my whole lip, like through this part. Like it was really, really deep. I was tied up before. Like I've been really tortured. Like I was chased down the street with my son and shot at. Like shot at in my home. Like literally picked up the gun and just shot him. Like I've been through a lot in that situation, and I can never go back to that because I know who I am now, and I should have knew who I was then, but I was so young.
When you're young and you get into relationships, it's harder because when you're young, you are looking for love and you're looking for some shit that you missed as a childhood or that you
Yeah,
thought that you wasn't privileged
yeah, and
to.
that's how I
So
grew up. Like I
yeah,
pretty much grew up in a domestic violence home,
so yeah,
so it was like that's what I was taught. That's what I went out and looked for, and me having a daughter now, and like my baby dad sending me to jail for hitting him and stuff. I don't hit people anymore because I don't want to go to jail.
I
And
will say this:
I don't want my daughter.
I've seen your growth, but apparently you just recently went to jail.
Yeah, in July. So like I've been changing, and I've lost a friend to domestic. Like when you lose somebody close, like really, really close to you, to that, it changes. Like I used to be really, really bad at like beating on people after I got out of jail. Like I had that bad because it was like that's what I was used to. I went to jail out of that situation. I never had time
So
to
do you feel like
fully
it was
heal.
like that was a void to you, like not
Yeah,
having that violence?
yeah, like that's what I was used to. Like everybody else I've been with now, like
You beat them.
it's like
You gotta stop
I'm the
beating them.
controlling one. Like,
You have to stop.
but I'll be chilling. But
Okay, so I went through a lot of shit before I had my daughter, and psychologically, I was thinking it's okay because these are boys that I had. But when I got pregnant with my daughter, I was thinking like I can't let my baby think that this is love. I can't let her think this is how a nigga's supposed to treat you. This is not how a man is supposed to love you. So I made a promise to myself and I told him, you got one more time to do some shit that I feel like would affect my daughter and I'm gone.
yeah,
And that was that one more time and he did it and I'm gone. So now I make them take her flowers on her birthday. I make them give her flowers, just randomly give her flowers because I want her to feel that love. And granted, maybe I was selfish because I should have did that with my boys too.
yeah.
Because I don't want them loving somebody. I don't want them to think that's how you love somebody. But I see like from the situation that I was in through all my kids, like I see a little piece of the situation in all of
Yeah,
them.
because a lot of situations be traumatizing to kids because in their head it's fear, like they're scared. They don't know what's going on. It's like an aggression. And it says in their brain that they're supposed to be scared, fearful of this. So it traumatizes them. And that, like my
And it's
oldest son is
scary.
like that. My other two children, luckily, have not like had to go through that.
That's
And
good.
like I feel bad for putting my oldest child through that because he really did not deserve that. But
But you were young mom,
yes, I was very young.
so you had to learn.
And I had help, but I didn't have the help I needed because I kept quiet. Like it's
But even if you would have had help, I feel like white people help is so different from black.
yeah, even black people help though. Like my
Because
grandma,
our family, I was in a
like
situation. Don't even talk about grandmas. I'm in a
yeah,
situation. I was in cussing my grandma.
yeah,
She said, "Well, pumpkin, you know." I said, "He want to marry me." I don't know. She said, "Well, pumpkin, you got 3 kids. Ain't you might as well marry him because ain't nobody else gonna want you with 3 kids." And I was like, I can't
yeah.
wait to
My
get to
grandma,
heaven.
like
We gonna have a talk.
my grandma, like really tried to separate my child from me. Which back then I wasn't. I was upset, but I understood. But if I felt like my baby was in arms, like I would call her, like, "Can my baby come stay with you?" So it was really no need for her to like try to involve DCFS in my life because when it got to a point for me, I would call her like, "My son needs to come over there. He needs to stay over there for a
Did
while."
she ever ask you? Could she get him?
And I would give him to her. Like it
I
was
mean,
like
like live with her
yes,
before she
and he
called
lived with
DCFS.
yeah, he lived with her. This is the thing. He lived with her while I was in jail. She never tried to take him while I was in jail. Like I never lost my child. But when I came home and before I came home, she used to play those type of games because she just thought I wasn't fit after I came home. But I've been really, really trying my hardest because being a felon hard, and I let that man change my whole like I never have been in trouble. I never have been to jail. Like as a kid, but as an adult, I had never. I didn't even have a traffic ticket. Like
And
my
that
first time going to jail was for murder.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, sis, you went all
yeah,
out.
yeah. It changed my whole life and perspective of life because I got a second chance. I could have been in jail for the rest of my life.
Most people don't
And
look at it like that.
yeah, and somebody else raising my child. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a second chance to be a mom and do something with my life that I didn't before. And that's why I say I really feel like jail saved my life because I really feel like I would have been dead. Because the abuse wasn't getting better, it was just getting worse and worse and worse.
Do you still try to communicate with you?
I mean, he tells me all the time like he's sorry and he wishes that like we could be together, but like we can't.
Do you feel like you're healed from that?
Not completely. And I say that because I still be ready to beat on niggas.
This lady here.
So not completely, but like
But you know what? I will say this.
with my confidence, like I'm like a bad bitch. I don't really get no fuck like what people think of me. Back then, I really cared a lot what people thought of me. Now I don't care because like people gonna talk about you regardless.
They are.
So like, I mean, I'm the only one that had to live this life. Don't nobody else gotta live this life but me.
But do you realize like
Like I be watching it, I'm like, I'm so happy because I don't see her outside fighting no more. Like,
And I even inbox you like, I'm so proud of you. Like you doing, I tell you that. But do you realize like the stuff that you do, the stuff that you go through with your family, that's domestic abuse too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
So
don't
it's just-
understand
so
what
it's like
like
a-
mental
so
and
it's like a
physical
cycle.
anymore. Yeah. So that's why I separated myself from you because y'all not gonna keep
And sometimes
taking
you
me
have
out of
to.
my space.
That's
Like
why
when
I'm
I be at
talking
peace, I be at peace. Like I like to have my peace. I'm not the best mom, but I'm doing my best as the mom I am. Like you
Well,
can't.
there's no handbook with motherhood,
Okay.
parenthood, so you learn
And
as you
people
go.
be acting like they don't go through their own shit, and that's what really blows me. Like y'all gotta look at y'all worry about y'all lives and what y'all did wrong. I gotta make my own mistakes. Just like I made my own mistake with who I was dating back then. Like a lot of people don't know the fight in me. They don't know that person because like I changed.
Well, I wouldn't say like I think that people need to look at, and I don't even know you personally, but I think people need to look at the growth. And since we've been friends on Facebook, I have seen like a tremendous turnaround with you from like
Yes,
the people that
yes.
you hang with. You're not fighting. You, to me, on the outside looking in, you
Yes.
doing good until you was on the internet the other day. I said, okay.
They was I just had to respond.
And you know what? It's so funny.
That was last week because this is a new week.
But it's
like,
so
every
funny
week.
because you know what? When you have those little outbursts, I don't even watch your live. I just be like, no.
And I don't even be trying to go live no more. But once they push me, I be like, oh no, this too much for me to type. Cause ain't nobody gonna read this long ass
I was
post.
like, I'm just gonna inbox her if she come if she don't come.
I
down,
be just
inbox
trying to
her.
chill. Like I'm more of a we can talk it out person now. Like I only ask people who they want to fight if you keep constantly picking. It gotta be like you just gotta keep picking because I be chilling like.
But if you family that push you deeper than somebody.
And it be like old
Yeah.
friends too, like weird behavior. Like if I don't talk about you, don't talk about me type shit. Like
Okay, so if you guys didn't know, domestic abuse comes in many forms. It could be a friend, it could be your spouse, it could be your ex, it could be your brother, your sister, your grandparents, your kids, you know. And then to be honest with you, a lot of kids, and I will say, and I don't want to be politically incorrect, but I'm kind of like correct. So when you don't see it in a lot of Black families, but you see it tremendously in a lot of Caucasian families, where they're beating their elderly mother, or they're taking all of their money, or so they're doing the financial abuse, they're doing the neglect. Like most of the time when rich Caucasian people put their parents in an assisted living or into a nursing home.
yes, to rob them.
It's so that they can rob them because they're very capable of hiring a nurse or an aide to come to their home with them. So when you think about domestic abuse, I just want you guys to think about all the forms of abuse.
Yeah, or abuse period, because abuse is.
And I take this like I'm not that mom that's gonna sugarcoat shit my kids do. If I feel like my son isn't right, he isn't right. You need to get away. Like my son,
people
little
don't
girlfriend.
understand that.
Oh, you want to get your son, bitch? Listen, let me tell you. And I had this little girl message me one day, and one of my sons is just not shit when it comes to relationships. And she messaged me one day, and I was like, listen, baby, I'm like, you're pretty, you got your whole life ahead of you. Don't ever let a man or a little boy make you think that you have to prove yourself to them. You don't have to prove yourself to nobody. And that goes back saying this, there's no pressure behind these niggas. And what I told her was there's never no pressure behind no nigga because you are the pressure. And as long as you uplifting yourself and you thinking that, because it took me a while to get to that point. So now I'm like, I don't need a nigga, bitch. Bye. Y'all see my window shades got bust out, but it's okay. They fixed it. I'm back to reality.
Yeah, see, ain't no bitch trying me like that. Luckily.
And then it was just because I said that I'm cool. I don't want you to slide on me.
Like,
but to tear my deceased mom car up, that's some shit that I would never get over. We can never go down there.
People do a lot because I used to abuse my ex-wife a lot.
Y'all went through it.
Yeah, we did.
You probably fucked her up. She gonna start beating people.
I did. And
but okay, all right. Let's be serious for a minute.
I am.
Why?
Why did I do that to her? I just felt like I knew she loved me, but I just felt like she loved me out of spite type shit. Like,
How do you love somebody else?
Do you feel like she felt sorry for you?
yes, that like I
Okay,
felt like
okay.
she only loved me because she felt sorry for how she did. Like, bitch, you don't just love me genuinely. Like, damn, it ain't in your heart. Like, it was in my heart. And
Do you
like,
think that was just something psychological because of what you've been through?
no.
Or do you think that
it
she
was
really just felt sorry for
It
you?
was her. It was her. It was how she, like, I can't even say it was how she, well, I can. Like, to the world, y'all would have thought, like, I had it made over there. Like, I was getting buttered up, loved up, like, motherfuckers just love me, like, type shit. No, it wasn't like that.
Demi been fucking up the lights as she walked through the door.
It wasn't like that. She
Well, you
was,
know, ain't no relationship perfect.
she was very verbally abusive. Like, the shit she'll say. And we'll get into it, and I'll be there.
So, in other
I
words,
would.
you couldn't handle somebody's. And I, you know what? I'm
It
not
was
gonna judge you
triggers
off
for
that.
me, though.
Yeah.
Like, shit she'll say would
People
trigger
don't
me
get that, though.
because it would be shit he used to tell me. Like, first of all, why is you telling me that? Like, don't say that. And I'll tell her, like, shit you saying makes me react how I react because I've been told that it triggers my brain. I already went through that. Like, that's what you think. Because, like, she used to tell me, like, I'm just, like, a sex symbol. Like, people look at me like that for real.
Okay, you know what? That's another form. No. Listen, you see, I said sexual abuse or sexuality on there, and that is actually a form. Like, people will be like, "Oh, I'm just here because the sex good, or the sex ain't that good,"
Yeah.
or you know, and that's abuse too. But I mean, it's you. If you comfortable in your skin, bitch, if this how you met me, showing my ass on the
Exactly.
internet,
And
then
that's what
don't
I
judge
be-
me
that's
when
what I
we're
used to
together and
tell
I'm
her,
showing my
like,
ass on the internet.
even with clothes on.
How you think I got you showing
Like,
my ass on the internet?
People still be looking at me with clothes on. So I just never understood like why she would come at me like that. They're her family. Our biggest downfall was her family. Why is your family always in my motherfucking business? Type shit. Like your mama, your grandma,
But you
your
know why?
aunties, like your cousins.
They put them in it.
Exactly. And I used to tell her, do I run into my people? Like, I don't call my people every time I get to it. Like, you give them something to go off of. Like, I was very abusive. I burned her, like, gave her 30-degree burns on her arm. I did a lot to her, but she did a lot to me. She cheated the whole time.
Okay, so we have figured out that Demi is
Now,
a survivor and an abuser, but when the tables turn, that's normally how it goes. Because
Yes,
when the
and
domestic
somebody
violence victim
trying to
has so
fix.
much anger built up into them, so like we go through these triggers. Like the smallest shit trigger me. People can say like the littlest, and I go from 0 to 100 real quick and I spaz out. But before I start spazzing out, because I know once I get mad, and this is why my mom didn't want me having a gun, because I be blacking out and shit. So I just like, I try to be like, it's cool, just I learned to isolate myself from certain situations before I just spaz out. And what taught me a lesson, that's why I'm so mad about my car when it was getting busted out. Because what taught me a lesson was I thought my boyfriend was cheating on me, so I wanted to flatten his tire. But I only did one tire. Like, he went crazy. We went on a high-speed chase. I came up and flattened my tires at the chicken shack. Okay, so I'm sitting there. He's studying. Hold on, look, y'all. Okay, so I flattened his tire and I went to church. So he blowing my phone up in church, and I'm like, that was karma. It's a lie on God. I was like, I didn't flatten your tire. Like, I've been at church all morning. Like, how did I flatten your tire? So I'm not knowing that he in a whole nother part. So me and my kids, we enjoying our Sunday afternoon after church or whatever. I'll go order some chicken shack. I bag in. And I'm just sitting there chilling, and I was too fucking relaxed. And I see the nigga hop out the car, but I'm thinking that like he coming to beat my ass. So I put the car in drive, and my reaction was so slow because I put the car in drive, and the nigga stabbed my tire, but I couldn't see what he stabbed my tire with. So now me and my sons, we chasing their ass like on the east side, chasing them. My son throwing everything out the window that he can. He done threw my jack. We done lost my jack to my car. We done lost my tire iron. So finally, I guess the nigga felt like he was finna die, so he called the police. He called the fucking police on me. So the police came. they had both of us surrounded. They was like, okay, well, both of y'all don't fuck with each other car. So if one of y'all go, then both of y'all go in the jail. So that type of situation. And that was toxic. That was abuse. So I went on about my business. I'm like, okay, my tire, we done went on a whole high speed chase on the east side. My tire ain't flat yet. I'm good. Bitch, I go home, park the car in the backyard because I just know he's coming back. I came out a couple hours later. My tire was flat because he flattened my shit with an ice pick. But this nigga was so toxic. He made his daughter a doctor's appointment at the office that I was working at. Okay.
Stuff like
I'm coming to get you after work so we can go out to eat it. What my dumb ass do? I went out to eat with him and he paid for my tire to get fixed. But at the end, like we were toxic for each other, which we were, we did a little tit for tat shit, and that's domestic abuse. So ultimately, we just decided to not fuck with each other, but we became good friends. Like I'm still friends with him to this day. But that just goes to show you like how something so small could be something so toxic as y'all call it, which is domestic abuse. And it's not cute because both our kids see that shit. His daughter was scared, my kids was crazy as fuck, so they was entertained because we was on a high speed chase. But it's just the little stuff. And then
I can say, not involved. Don't like, do anything. Like, seriously, because
I had to go crazy.
Like,
wait for a second.
The white people get involved.
No, they do.
Other people get involved. Your kids is traumatized, PTSD with that shit.
And that's the
I
thing.
feel like
now, when the police come out, usually it was they didn't call DCFS. It's a new law that if you get into a fight with your spouse and y'all are at home and the kids are there, they have to notify DCFS.
Because they did it for me.
And DCFS has 24 hours to contact you, 48 hours to come out and do the home visit and to see your kids. And within those 48 hours that you're waiting for them to come to your house, you don't know if you're gonna lose your kids. You don't know. So if you love your kids, it's really not worth it.
Yes, and it really ain't worth your life either. Like I said, I lost somebody really, really close to that shit. And like I still deal with that to this day because I feel like I could have helped her get out, but I didn't.
Nikki said we need to figure out how to not go back to those relationships because we are so used to the abuse that we are drawn to that type of relationships.
I agree. We attract what we're used to. Like if for instance, if somebody coming up to us and they trying to butter us, she gonna beat their ass because she gonna be like, you don't want to argue.
I do not like no man that is aggressive with me because it triggers me. Like for real. Like, I don't like that. Like, do not be aggressive with me. Like, don't touch me too hard. Like, don't raise your voice too loud. Don't come up with your voice too deep. Like,
so what they supposed to talk like, Jimmy?
Normal. Inside voice.
Take the bass out your voice.
Yes, because like certain for real, like
no, I agree.
Really fuck like certain shit to this day still fucks with me. Like I don't like nobody talking to me type of way. Because what are you gonna see?
Yeah, like my baby dad, like his voice is aggressive and he'll talk and I'll be like, who the fuck are you talking to? Don't talk to me like that.
I'm really
like,
aggressive
it's
now
a trigger
because of that. Like I did not used to be like this. Like you ask any of my friends that knew me before and after jail, they'll tell you like I did a whole 360. Like I came home with this aggressive ass bitch.
Do you miss the old?
Yes.
I do too. I do.
Yes, I really do because I was like really sweet. Do I miss like allowing people to run over me? No. I miss the heart I used to have. I can't even really say the heart. I just can say the personality, the persona I had then. I was more easygoing, laid back. Now I don't get no fuck.
Yeah, I really miss the old me. That shit changes you. And you would think that it's supposed to change you for the better, but it really changed you for the worse because everything you so standoffish about, you so defensive about shit.
Yeah, I'm very defensive.
Like what was said,
like sometimes when I talk to people, I have to send voice messages because I type how I talk. So like I'm pretty sure you'd have read a lot of shit in my voice. Like people read shit in my voice, so I have to send a voice message so they can actually hear me physically speaking it because people be like, why the fuck is you talking to me like that? Who the fuck you like? And I be
well,
like,
at least you know that
and
your
like,
voice, that your message come
people
off.
People still make me feel like I have to be reserved about my emotions And that's my problem I go through with my baby dad now. Like, I'm going to feel how I feel, and I'm allowed to express how I feel. So there's no miscommunication. People be too scared of communication these days. If you scared, reach out to somebody. If you are in a situation and you feel like you ain't got nobody, you need to reach out to somebody. Somebody gonna listen. Somebody done been there. Like,
somebody, and
there's
that's
somebody
the thing.
there to listen to you. Like, everybody's not out to judge you. Like, oh, be like, oh, she get her ass beat. I don't really think that shit is funny because at any time a person can get hit the wrong way and be gone. At the wrong time, somebody can snap.
My friends used to tell me like, and I don't think unless you're in that situation, you don't know how to deal with it. Like, you stupid as fuck, why you still with him? And my thing is, like, to this day, like, my cousins or my friends will go through some shit, and I'd be like, well, bitch, I'm the wrong person to tell you to leave because I was in a situation for forever. So what I will tell you is you have to love you first.
Yeah, and they always tell you, like, you know, don't really speak on nobody else's situation because it can be easily be. You never know what type of nigga you got until you really got him. Like, or he really got you. Let me say that. When he really got you, a man can flip his whole persona on you, his whole demeanor, and become this abusive ass person. Like, you can see the warning signs. Pay attention to how somebody talks to you, supports you, is there for you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but a lot of y'all think that love is
the drama.
Like, where you at?
Yeah, and all that.
Who you been talking to? That's abuse. He controlling.
Can easily pull up on you and kill you just because they thought you was with somebody else. And your life is gone. Or because you was messing with somebody that wanted to control you and felt like they lost control. In which they did lose control mentally. And you're physically gone. All because you think things are a game or a joke. And it's really been a lot of situations like that. Like, people die from domestic violence thinking these people be playing. Like, pay attention when a person tells you they'll kill you because it's more than likely true. Like, I don't really find it as a joke. If somebody tells you they're gonna kill you, if I say it,
we're gonna get Nemi. We gonna call that number for them.
Because if you get me to that point, that really is.
But have you know all jokes aside?
I feel like if me and you was in that situation, I would have to kill you, like, to protect me.
Because it's you or me.
Like, people don't understand. Like, people don't be joking when they say they'll hurt you. Like, they'll kill you and that nigga. Like, people real life be dead ass serious about shit like that. And in the blink of an eye, you can die.
And I think, like, us, we probably be like, you know, he loved me too much to do some shit like that.
No,
you can't underestimate. You can't underestimate anybody. Like, not a.
See, I don't go through the domestic, like, physical and all that stuff no more. It's just the verbal. Like, I'm verbally abusive too because I got a foul mouth too. But that's because I feel like I'm worth way more than ain't nobody gonna talk down on me. Like,
I'm
it's just that simple. Like,
so how did
I'm not insecure about myself. I'm not insecure about who I am. I am at a point in my life where I know is places in me that I need to work on, but who I am, I'm happy with who I am. Like,
so how did you go from being the person that you was getting beat all the time to the person with high self-esteem?
Well, I sat in jail for a really long time, and I didn't have nothing to do but focus. But when I got out of jail, like, looking back at what I looked like before jail, I was like really small. Like, I looked like I was like on a drug binge or something. Like, I was like small as fuck. When I got out of jail, I didn't know I had the body I had until I put on real clothes. Like, once I took off the uniform and put on real clothes, I'm like, damn. Like, and then I had like different skin and all. Like, I just looked completely different, and I just started building my own confidence. Like, people would tell me like, oh, I'm pretty and all this stuff, but it was for me. Like, I had to believe that. Like, I had to love myself. I had to tell myself, like, I'm that bitch. Like, and I just started loving me more, loving on me, telling myself every day, like, you're worth it. Like, I had to build myself up. It didn't take me, like, going to find somebody to love me to do that. It took for me to do that. And it takes a long time.
Marie said, best love is self-love. Shit, that's not. Hey, see what it say on your phone? Can you see the comments?
No.
Wait, y'all, we blind.
Yes, but
She said the best piece is with our kids. You know, sometimes we are better off alone. Toxic things can cause downfalls in your life all because of their energy. I swear to God. I was just telling my kids that, like, you know, like the energy, like I've come to the point where I can read somebody's energy,
yes,
and energy can take your, could
really
fuck
quick.
you up.
Real
And
quick.
my energy, cool. No, your energy's fucked up and it's fucking me up, and I'm getting upset.
Like people don't want to accept the fact that they're fucked up. They always try to deflect it. Like it's you. First of all, I know I got problems, but you need to
Own up to your own shit.
Do some shadow work within yourself, sweetie, because a lot of things ain't clicking with me. You know what I'm saying? What's not clicking, Steven? Like shit don't be adding up.
Just leave.
And I don't understand when people like, because everybody in their life has been through a form of abuse, whether it's
But some of these
abuse.
bitches that act like they ain't been
Yeah,
through shit.
and that be them bitches that ain't dealt with it. They push it off. They haven't dealt with it. When you deal with that shit head on, you know what's coming. Like, I don't never.
You know what you're gonna accept.
Yeah,
and
I
what
don't
you're
have
not
no
gonna deal
shame
with.
with telling people, oh yeah, this nigga beat my ass. Like, that's what happened. That's part of my life. That's what I went through. But I survived it. Not everybody comes out of them relationships alive.
No.
Not everybody come out with all their limbs or their body parts or their peace of mind. Like,
mine wasn't so much physical. It was more mental.
yeah,
I lost all my fucking friends.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
but honestly, a lot of them are still here. And a lot of them, that's why I'm saying a lot of them know what I went through. That's why, like, my friends be going through that shit. I be like, gee, come on now. You know what I went through. Like, I be telling them, like, you know exactly what I went through. So, yes, she knows exactly. Like, she was
But
there.
you know what? I love her to death. And it used to be so funny because we got into an argument one time. And she was like, she was talking shit about it. And then when I see that shit happen to her, I said, not you, bitch.
Exactly.
Not you. You just talk so much shit. And I love my baby to death.
It's like
love
she know it. And then, like, we lost our friend to that, too.
It's not worth it.
Like, why would you want to go be in a situation like that?
I don't think she realized how free she is.
Like, and a lot of women don't. A lot of women don't realize because they're not telling themselves that. They relying on another person's opinion. I feel like
y'all remember when I was walking around here with them fall from grace wigs on.
My kids tell me I'm pretty, so it's like my affirmations for myself and then my kids. Like my kids,
that shit hit different when your kids.
Yeah,
like,
like
so pretty.
My oldest son be like, "Oh, you look nice." Like, "Oh, okay." Because period, like I did something right. Like,
I was like, you should be a mom.
It's different
like, for real.
because at a point in time when I was young, I'm almost 30 now, and I was 10 years ago. I was in that relationship for like 2.5 years, 3 years. I can say what I learned the most out of that is to never lose yourself within someone. And I slightly lost myself when I was going through divorce, but I picked myself up so motherfucking quick. Like I've never picked myself up that fast. Like losing myself. When I lost myself with dude, it took me years to repair who I was. Like, and I'm still not completely there because I'm still aggressive. Like I'm a woman. I don't feel like that's attractive.
No, it's you know what, I'll tell you something that me and my oldest son was talking and stuff. Like, I don't get it. Like I ain't never been through no shit with no niggas like this. Like, why the fuck is this happening to me? He said, Mom. I said, why is these niggas acting like bitches? And you know what he told me? He was like, cause you act like a nigga. And I was like,
yeah. And I get told that a lot. Like, my baby dad be like, why are you so aggressive? Why you need to take that bass out your song? I be like, take the bass out your song. Like,
what are you talking to?
If you want to be strong with me, I'm gonna be strong with you because you're not gonna bitch me. Like that be my problem. You're not gonna bitch me. Like I'll let a lot slide, but once I feel like you study coming for me or picking with me, or you just want to poke the bear, I'm gonna release it because I really am trying to change who I am for my kids. Like my daughter, seeing what my son went through with me, going through that, I never want my other two children to feel like that. I want me and my son to be able to show them something totally different. And I want my daughter to experience what love is. And I tell her that all the time. Like she needs to see Like if
Happiness
you gonna
and
be
shit.
there for her, you know what I'm saying, to be an active father, you need to do better. Like regardless of who you with, you need to show her what it's like to love a woman because she's gonna look for you in men, and men don't really be understanding that.
And I think that's like my dad was in and out of jail my entire life.
So you like fellas? You grew up liking fellas?
I grew up liking fellas. That's all the fuck I was
Mhm.
around was fellas. Like my
Yeah, I grew
cousins
up
was
liking drug
fellas.
dealers.
You know, and when they say, and when people get mad when people be like, "You're a product of your environment." No, I am. I am, and I don't know how to. Honestly, I don't know how to change it. Anybody know me? Like people really just started knowing me within these last 5 years, and that's because I removed myself from that situation. So I became more social, more verbal, and I was timid. I was naive. I wasn't coming outside. I was working 2 jobs and going to school and going home with my kids. Like I had no life. Like I didn't know.
Man can really manipulate you into believing that nobody wants you with them. And that like people be trying to holler at you for one thing, which is sex, or they just want to use you. Whole time the person that's telling you this is the one that's using you. And it takes people. You can't really give a timeline for healing in that situation, or when a person to move on. All you can do is wish and hope that they move on before it's too late, before somebody's dead.
Because I'm still fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, and I'm not gonna say like it's so funny because I don't like I get over a motherfucker so quick. I be like, I love you, and then I be like, I don't like him no more. My friend be like, what the fuck wrong with you? I don't know, I don't like him no more. But I'm quick to remove myself out of the situation, especially when I see the red flags or the shit that my ex used to do to me. I'm like, man, I gotta go.
It's like, man, I know people.
You like red? I like that color.
Yeah, like I know people don't be good for like the type of spirit I got, the type of energy I got. Like people be bringing the worst out of me. Like I have a really good energy, so when people make me negative, it blows me. Like that means you can disturb my peace. And once you disturb my peace, I really it's like really like a slim chance you're gonna come back from that because every time I'm gonna have that energy from you that you're gonna disturb my peace. You're gonna do something to piss me off. And that's why I say I'm not healed because certain shit triggers me. Like it could just be the wrong thing. Like just like you could say a whole sentence and you say one word.
No, I get it because I've been some shit triggered me and I've been in this little depressed state for the past. I've been deleted all my motherfucking music because somebody pissed me off. But shut up,
because that triggered you.
Yeah.
But that triggered you into making yourself believe like you wasn't worth.
Yeah, so I just
like it be like that, like,
and it's been going on for like a couple of like for about a week and a half, and I just been like this week was hard. I just been in a dark spot, so it's all about taking yourself out of it because I know like I'm so much better than that shit.
Yes, and the biggest thing is affirmations. I say always tell yourself, even if you don't right now, always tell yourself, I love you. You are amazing, or you're worth it. Something every day when you wake up. But make sure you always tell yourself.
Tell yourself that you love you. You pretty.
Like,
ain't nobody
like,
fucking
look,
with you.
If you gotta stick sticky notes on your mirror, stick sticky notes on your mirror of affirmation.
If a man is not matching your energy, leave. Leave. He don't have to have a car. He can have a bike too, but he got to match your energy. He has to be able to provide what you can provide.
Yeah, because after a while, you can't blame the man for doing anything to you.
No,
because you're allowing it. And
or you're used to the same type
it took me a long time to realize that, like, okay, because people used to ask me, like, why you ain't never leave him and woo, woo. And I'm like, you know, people used to, his mom used to say I couldn't always blame him because I was sitting up letting him. And I understood that as I got older and started healing from the situation.
His mom said
like
that. You don't get moms that
like,
say shit like
yeah,
that.
like damn, I was allowing him to do that. I could have tried harder to get away. Like
you was young, so you can't even beat yourself up.
Yes, very, very, very young. But I'm glad that I went through that experience young, so I won't have to go through it as an adult. Because when you're an adult going through that shit, it's different. Because I feel like you should know better. Like I'm pretty sure you've seen this shit go on through life. Like I can understand if you start young and you know it's going into your adulthood. Because once a motherfucker tricks your brain and got your brain and got you like
It's a
it'd
wrap.
be so hard to separate yourself from that, and that's the soul tie.
And that's why you
That's
see
the
like
soul
the girls that be real pretty in school, and then they get with a nigga, and now they just you like, damn, what happened to her?
Yeah.
That nigga.
Yeah.
It was
Killing
that nigga
it.
that you wanted,
Sleeping-
but she got him. It was the
Sleeping
nigga.
out,
Count your
sucking
blessings.
sucking all her energy out of her. And,
But I'm a firm believer in that energy is something serious. You cannot let, if you have somebody that got negative energy come around you, you're going to go into a state of depression. You're going to go into a state of not giving a fuck. You just going to be fucked up mentally. So in order for y'all to get up out of that, you have to love you first. You have to seek help. It is help out there. It is outlets out there. We as not only Black women, but women, we are scared or we're afraid to reach out because we think that somebody is going to judge us, or especially in Springfield, like y'all are scared to reach out, especially in small communities like this. I'm not just going to say in Springfield because 9 times out of 10, we know somebody that works at that clinic.
Yeah.
We know somebody that works at the doctor's office. What is this bitch going to run back and tell? I don't want nobody to know I'm depressed. Depression is real. Not majority of us suffer from it, so don't ever think that you are lower than what you are because you get sad sometimes. Okay, and then signs of depression is oversleeping, overeating, not sleeping at all, anger and aggression, not cleaning, not
it
taking
can be
care,
a
not
happy.
loving you.
It could be a person that even seems happy.
Those
like,
are the people that
you
have
have to pay attention to the happy they are. Like people be mistaken smiles and stuff. Oh, they were happy, they were laughing, they were joking.
No.
But after they were laughing and they were joking, they probably would have cried.
They were laughing and
like,
joking to cope.
Like, I honestly say, if you don't have nobody, find you somebody, a support group, something to talk to at all times.
Besides, then
even if you got,
she very positive.
Even if you, yeah, because like, you know.
Okay. Besides her beating niggas, she's very positive. She'll give you some good advice, but if you take her advice and then not take her advice, you gonna hear about it. You gonna
because I be on people's ass because what is the problem? I be trying to figure out but that's why I say you can't rush nobody. But damn,
like who the fuck is she?
I feel like once you done seen that shit, like you know what I went through. I be telling people that you know what I went through.
Most people aren't.
But it's not me, so I can't say that.
Right, but you have to think most people that go through that shit, they be they think that that's love. They just want somebody to love them.
I did too.
So you know what I'm saying? They just want somebody to love them, and they be like, one day he's gonna change. No, one day you're gonna be changed in a coffin. So don't be thinking that. And if it's too toxic, then your kids start to grow up and they get to see this shit. Now you gotta look at it like this: your son might kill somebody.
After the first time, leave. That's it. After the first time, leave. Because it gets worse. Ain't they gonna apologize to you, butter you up?
What I say? I was hit 3 times.
Have sex with you.
And
if you tell a man no, because I had to explain this to my ex. He used to think he didn't like me, and I used to tell him yes, you did.
No, because as of 1993, it was against the law to fuck your spouse if they said no.
I told him if I told you no and you were aggressive to me, maybe that's taking advantage of somebody. He used to be like, well, you still did it, but you took it.
Another
if I told you off top, no means no. Don't let nobody tell y'all that no don't mean no.
Even if you're married,
no
means no. Even if you're married, it's no.
It's just that simple.
But y'all gotta know the signs. You gotta know the signs of the physical abuse. You gotta know the signs of sexual abuse, verbal abuse, mental, emotional, psychological, and cultural.
The stalking shit is not toxic. It's not cute. That is called harassment.
And in all reality, I spoke about us as Black women being abused and our rates being higher than white people or Hispanics. But actually in India, majority of the population of women are abused by their spouses. And to them, that's the cultural correct thing. And that goes with spouses abusing you culturally because, if you go to the church or they go to somebody higher up, they're going to always call the husband because the husband is the man of the household. Over there, ladies, the women don't have a voice. You don't. That's why you see so many of them coming over here single and by themselves, and because they don't have a voice there. So we just have to keep in mind that even when we seem to have it the worst, it's always somebody else in a worse situation, and that's when it comes to like I know we tend to be our own enemies and we tend to hate each other, but seeing another female out and smiling at them, speaking to them, saying hello, that's not gonna hurt you. You could brighten somebody's day by saying that.
Yes.
Because you never know what somebody is going through.
And I feel like never believe, like if it's not positive, don't believe what somebody says about you. I feel like if only you can believe what somebody says about you if that's how you feel about yourself.
Shit, because it's been forever. Motherfuckers like, you ain't got no hair. Okay, bitch, we passed that.
Yeah, cause I ain't had no hair either, but you know, still was that bitch. Like, bald head, no.
Okay,
Like,
okay, bitch, we know that I'm bald headed.
like,
Okay,
what's
what's
that?
that?
Was saying that niggas was in my bald head. Like, hair don't keep nothing keeps a man but being yourself. That's really all I can say.
Nikki, I know. No, it's my pleasure to do the show. I was thinking like, what could I do to get back? And yeah, your situation sucks. I'm off this weekend, so if you want to come and talk, we can talk. Because I know you went through a lot of shit. I wish that you would have came on this panel and actually shared your story, because you actually went through a lot. You came a long way. So I'm proud of you. If ain't nobody told you that, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you because you definitely went through a lot. You and the girls, but I love you. All right, y'all. Y'all know, Big Pressure Podcast. This was Silent Scars. And I named it Silent Scars because most people don't talk. Some people's scars you can't see. Some shit is emotional. PTSD comes with this. So please, if you are being abused, get out of the situation. I know people don't like staying at shelters, but if you call Soldier and they can direct you, you don't even have to stay at a shelter in your local town. They are helping battered women relocate now to other shelters to start over. And I just want you guys to know that if you
there's more resources.
It's definitely more resources. Most women don't know that. They think that they're stuck in a lease. You're not stuck in a lease. If you're being abused, you can get out of your lease.
Yep.
If you are being abused, you can take time off work. You don't have to lose your job.
That's why if you notice, like everywhere you call now, they have a domestic violence option. Because this shit is getting real. Too many people is dying from this shit. The order protections ain't saving people.
The order protections
like
are not.
It's too much going on. And like I said,
and
you don't got you somebody, find you somebody. Buy a journal if you need, because my journal is my best friend. Like shit, I really don't feel comfortable telling people, and I tell people.
See, I haven't into that.
I've been journaling.
Somebody told me I should try that.
I've been journaling for about 15 years.
See, I ain't never got into it. I'm gonna try. I do my raps that I
Yeah.
just delete about everything. How can we upload that shit though?
Like 15 years. I've been journaling.
And I know people are scared of these CFS, but they have this thing where they're trying to keep families together.
Yeah,
so if it gets to that point because listen, I say that if you're in a domestic dispute, now is your time to contact them before the police contact
yes,
them.
Yes, and the first time is the only time. Real normalize that the first time is the only time. Once you see the warning, go. Once you see red, you gotta go. Like you gotta love yourself first. Make sure you tell yourself you love yourself. Make sure you tell yourself you're worth it. Make sure you
use your EAP at work too. Use that shit. Use your EAP. They have resources. Look into this shit. If you are being abused and you don't know what to look into, I'm pretty sure Miss Demi here is a resource for you. You can reach out to me. Or you can call the number or text
I give good advice.
Everything.
I don't make fun of people's situation like that because I've been through it and it's not funny and it's scary.
All right, well that is going to conclude our show for tonight. I thank everybody for tuning in. I'm gonna try to do special segments. I'm trying to figure out what awareness is coming up next month, and maybe we can do a different segment, or maybe we can, revisit the domestic abuse at a later date. But I thank you guys for tuning in. That is going to conclude our show here at Big Pressure Podcast. It's your girl, Big Brenda.